Good afternoon. Today is September the 12th, 2023, Tuesday. The time is now 5:33 p.m. This is the regular scheduled meeting of the Richland 1 Board of Commissioners. Pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act, which is FOIA, the public has been provided access to the live stream of this meeting via the district's website, which is www.richland1.org, as well as in person with limited seating. At this time, we'll ask for a motion for executive session.
Move that we go into executive session.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Devine, second by Commissioner Myers. We'll open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose say nay. The ayes have it. And we will go into executive session to discuss the following. Student placement requests under the Office of Human Resources, Administrative Hire, Leave of Absence, Hiring of Personnel, and under the Office of the Board, Litigation Committee discussion. At this time, we will recess until 7 o'clock p.m. Thank you. Now 7 o'clock p.m. Today is September the 12th of 2023. Again, this is the regular scheduled meeting of the Richland 1 Board of Commissioners. Board of Commissioners have been in executive session since 5:30 p.m. We did come out of executive session at 5:57 p.m. The motion was made by Commissioner Myers. It was seconded by Commissioner Clyburn, and the vote was unanimous to end executive session at 5:57 p.m. Topics of discussion was student placement requests, administrative hires, leave of absence, hiring of personnel, and litigation committee discussion. At this time, we will now go into our public session. We'll bring this meeting to order for tonight, beginning with 7-1, which is our invocation being presented on tonight by the Reverend Tiffany Nolan of Wesley United Methodist Church. Yes. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I'm sorry, Commissioner Devine, you did ask me if there was a correction. My married name is Boykin now.
Okay.
So
right.
Tiffany Nolan Boykin. I don't want to dishonor my husband, so I'm gonna honor him. He'll be like, "Why you ain't telling people what your name is?" So anyway, and we are grateful to be here, delighted to be here, and always supporting the school district. Even more so, our little boy is starting 3K at Logan, so we are even more so a part of Richland 1 now. So let us pray. God, we thank you so much for this day and for yet another opportunity to call your name, to know that you're with us and that you promise to never leave us nor forsake us. We pray special prayers tonight for our children and all our students and our teachers, administrators, certainly for our board, oh God. We pray for protection as they enter in and out of these school buildings each day. We pray, God, tonight for our board that you help them as they seek to make good and wise decisions. Pray for wisdom. We pray for discernment, oh God. And we pray believing and trusting that all things will work out for the good. We pray, God, that you just continue to lead them and guide them. Bless this gathering tonight, oh God. And may everything that we do and we say, may you be at the center of it, oh God, and that you order all of our steps. We pray this prayer and all of our prayers in the strong, strong name of the one who is love. And we, as your sons and your daughters, we say amen.
Amen. Thank you so very much, Reverend Boykins, for being here with us on tonight. Thank you for being a part of the Richland 1 family. At this time, we will move on to the agenda adoption. What is the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
It's been moved by Commissioner Bishop and second by Commissioner Myers. We'll now open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Electronically? Manually? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose say nay. Ayes have it. The agenda for tonight's meeting has been adopted. Let the record reflect that all board members are in attendance for tonight's meeting. We'll now move to School Board Spotlight, which is being presented on tonight by Commissioners Devine and Commissioner Clyburn.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight we do have in the spotlight tonight, September the 12th, 2023. Through the district's educational ingenuity grants program, Richland 1 teachers can apply for grants up to $1,000 to implement programs to enhance their students' learning experiences and outcomes. And on tonight, we will recognize our newest educational ingenuity grant recipients. At this time, grants coordinator, Ms. LaShonda Keels, will introduce them. Ms. Keels.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Witherspoon, Madam Chairman, and members of the Board of Commissioners. Once again, it's a privilege to be here. Our educational ingenuity grant is actually offered to all pre-K, elementary, middle, and high school teachers within the district. This grant remains a valuable resource which supports our teachers in engaging our students in context-specific inquiry-driven projects that help to improve learning experiences and improve outcomes across the board. Each recipient is eligible to receive up to $1,000 to support their innovation projects. For the board's convenience tonight, wanted to share the personal accounts of our teachers from the previous administration of our grant cycle. Tonight, however, we're here to honor our present and new recipients for the 2023 scholastic school year. We ask that as our recipients come up, to please remain standing. Our first recipient is none other than Miss Karen Wedderburn. She's a science teacher at W.G. Sanders Middle School. The name of her project is Beyond the Books. Her project will actively engage 70 students in grades 6 through 8 in concepts that address force and motion using mini rockets in collaboration with our own Challenger Center. In addition, the students will have an opportunity to study alternate forms of energy and how that energy is used within our own city. And lastly, another little mini project the students will be able to be immersed in is actually examining the chemical compounds that make up products such as lotion. These first-hand learning experiences will initiate the development of higher order thinking skills such as creativity, synthesis, and reasoning. Our next recipient for this evening is Miss Elizabeth Henson. Miss Henson is an ID severe teacher at Pendergrass Fairwall. The name of her project is Assistive Technology. Ms. Henson's students will be taught to use the assistive technology in the form of augmentative communication devices to help her students to become active listeners while listening to different texts. Having these communication devices will help to improve her students' expressive and receptive language skills. Unfortunately, Ms. Henson is not able to be here tonight. If Miss Faith Wedderburn is here. Our third recipient is Miss LaWanda Champagne. Miss Champagne is a mathematics teacher at Lower Richland High School. The name of her project is IXL.com, Comprehensive Personalized Learning, and it will engage 83 students. Her students will be actively engaged in online, web-based, differentiated math instruction. Based on her students' individual learning profiles, each student will be introduced to and immersed in graphic, real-life, innovative math learning experiences. These experiences will start at the depth of knowledge level of 1 and increase in rigor to the depth of knowledge level 4, based on their individual performances. Ms. LaWanda Champagne.
She made it.
Everyone, please join me in applauding our grant recipients for a job well done. Congratulations.
Really? All right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Keels. Greatly appreciate it. This concludes the school spotlight for September the 12th, 2023.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Devine. Again, we want to congratulate each and every one of you on your awards, and we know that your money. We know you're going to do some great things in our schools, and we're excited for you, but we're mostly excited for our children and excited that they have teachers that are so innovative and creative and coming up with ideas to make classes exciting and learning exciting. Dr. Witherspoon, any comments at this time?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Again, it is great that we're able to recognize the creative juices, if you will, of our teachers that apply for these grants, that are able to go beyond and make learning fun and exciting for their benefit. And congratulations to this year's recipients, and we look forward to doing this every year.
Thank you again. Can we give them another round of applause? Awesome. We'll now move to 7.4 with public participation. This is where individuals sign up to speak on an agenda, a non-agenda item. The board will not respond on tonight. However, we will respond in writing within 7 to 10 business days. We do have some individuals that are signed up. At your 2-minute and 30-second mark, our parliamentarian, Commissioner Devine, will cue you to begin to wrap up. You do have a total of 3 minutes to speak. First, we have on tonight Ms. Louise Davis. Okay.
Hello, to the members of the board, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Louise Davis. I have 5 children, me and my husband. 3 of those children two attended Creighton and graduated, and I have 1 at Creighton now. And she's in the 6th grade. She came from Brockman Elementary, and most recently, she has been dress coded. She has been dress coded for the length of shorts that she wears. Skylar is a great student. She doesn't get in any trouble, but she was spoken to by the principal saying that her shorts were too short. And then after I spoke with the principal, who did not relent in letting Skylar go, she sent someone in the bathroom, a staff member, to also further berate Skylar about her shorts. Now, mind you, Skylar wears the same length of shorts as all girls do, but I believe because of Skylar's color that she is being discriminated against for the length of her shorts. I have pictures, I have videos of our Caucasian American sisters, little sisters who are wearing shorts that don't meet the dress code, but they are never sent home. Skylar and her friends, however, have been dress coded. I did speak with the executive director regarding this issue, and she did tell me that Skylar will no longer be dress coded. And Skylar hasn't since that conversation, but her friends are, and the other girls are not being addressed. So I did speak with the principal about this situation. She does not acknowledge that there is a problem. So I'm asking the school board to help with this situation. I graduated from, I attended Richland 1 schools too. And at AC Floor, this was about 30 years ago, we were dress coded as well, not me specifically, but other students. And we're still having this same problem that we had those years ago. The next situation I'm bringing up is I have 2 children at Brockman. I have 2 children that already graduated from Brockman. And when my son, who's 16 and he's at AC Flora now.
30 seconds.
When he's at AC Flora, Brockman doesn't have racial equality. My son, who's 5 years old, he's the only African-American student in his class. My daughter, she's one of 2 African-American students in her class. I'm asking for equality in our Montessori program.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Davis. Again, the board will not respond on tonight, but we will respond to you in writing in 7 to 10 business days. Next, we have Mrs. Janie Fair. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Madam Chair, Dr. Witherspoon, and board members. It's really a pleasure to be here tonight, but not for the reason I'm here. I am a retiree from Richland School Districts 1 and 2, and I have a concern about getting information. I'm here to advocate for a young man who is trying to find his records to get help from vocational rehabilitation. And he asked me to come because, you know, this is not easy for someone to stand up in front of such a distinguished audience, but I'm taking a chance on it. He's trying to get into a program there, needs his records from his IEP for his, he has ADHD. And we've called, he's sent in writing to the district. He has received his transcript, but no one has given him that information. The places that he was sent were Olympia. He said that Olympia would house that information. When he called down there, they said, no, we don't have that information. This is a learning center. He was sent to Waverly. Waverly has his transcript, but does not have his ADHD and the records that he needs to get into this program at Voc Rehab. This is a very resourceful young man that wants to work, but he does need this information, and District 1 is housing it somewhere. The next place they said to go was to Lion Street. Lion Street said, we don't do that. And they said, go over to Pendergrass over in Greenview. They said, of course, we don't do that. So we're in a circle, and no one seems to know where people can get help when they're trying to keep young people gainfully employed. You know, we talk about young people not wanting to work. A person with ADHD does not grow out of that. As a child, if they have it, they often go into adulthood with ADHD and need some accommodations. That is why he's trying to get into voc
30
rehab.
seconds.
All right, I thank you for your time. I pray that you will be able to send an answer to the address that was given, and that we will be able to help this young man so that he will be gainfully employed very soon. Thank you so much.
And Ms. Fair, thank you so very much. We won't respond on tonight,
Yes.
but we will respond to 7 to 10 business days. But I'm going to ask of you if you will go to our executive assistant and give her your contact number, the name of the child, and a
Okay.
number so someone can reach out to him. And thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is my church sister.
And lastly, we have Mr. George Crouch. That ain't good.
Let me try this. Good evening, board. Good evening, everyone. So for the last several years, I have recapped Richland School District 1 school board meetings and posted that recap on Facebook, and then I have a list of people that I email it to. And I usually enhance the certain agenda items that are, to me, important with a snippet or a copy of the board discussing the agenda item from the YouTube video that everyone has access to. I used a third-party app called Vibi to do that, and so instead of having to view the entire video, you have just a copy of the segment you're interested in. But about a year ago, my ability to use Vibi was restricted completely. So tonight, I'm asking the board to consider lifting that restriction. I use Vibi as a tool to enhance my recap and analysis of Richland School District 1 board meetings. It's available on the official YouTube channel of Richland School District 1. Vivi's interactive features, such as the ability to highlight specific segments and add comments, would greatly assist me in creating informative and engaging content related to the district's activities. However, I understand there are restrictions in place that prevent the use of Vivi on YouTube channels, and I'm asking that you consider revisiting the restrictions and granting access to Vivi for individuals like myself who are committed to creating educational content and promoting transparency in the school district. So my intention is to use Vivi solely for educational informative purposes, adhering to all copyright regulations and giving proper credit to Richland School District 1. By allowing the use of Vivi, you would enable me to provide a more comprehensive overview of the board's meeting, which could benefit both the district stakeholders and the broader community. So I'm willing to comply with any guidelines or procedures you have in place for using third-party tools like Vivi. If there are specific requirements or permissions needed, please
30
let
seconds.
me know, and I'll gladly follow those steps. Thank you for considering my request. I believe Vivi, to recap board meetings, are valuable additions to the district's effort to communicate and engage with the public. And I thank you for your time and look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Crouch. And again, the board will not respond on tonight, but we will respond to you in 7 to 10 business days. At this time, this concludes all of our public participation. We will now move on to our consent agenda. And if there's we'll do the minutes first for August 22nd, 2023. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Bishop, second by Commissioner Myers. We'll open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. We will take the vote manually. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose say nay. The ayes have it. The minutes for the August 22nd, 23 meeting have been approved. We'll now move to 8.2 and 8.3. If there's no objection from the board, we will read both of those in and take one vote. Now, unless there are individual questions that we may have. Okay. 8.2 is a contract extension for firewall annual maintenance renewal, and 8.3 is a contract extension for specialized student transportation services. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Bishop. We'll now open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. All those in favor, Manuel? Okay, we can go electronic now. We're voting on both contracts. So we're calling for the vote. Okay, let the record reflect the vote is unanimous. 8.2 and 8.3, as previously stated, have been approved. We'll now move to the Office of Operations with 9.1 and 9.2. If there's no objection from the board, we will read both items in. Okay. 9.1 is a contract for fire and intrusion alarm panels, Phase 1. 9.2 is a contract for antivirus software lease and maintenance. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Bishop, second by Commissioner Devine. We'll open the floor at this time for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote, and the vote is electronic. Let the record reflect the vote is unanimous. Both items, as previously mentioned under the Office of Operations, have been approved. We'll now move to the Office of Human Resources with 10.1, which is our administrative hire being presented by Dr. Long.
Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners, and Dr. Witherspoon. The administration recommends hiring Myra Combs Bramlett to the position of Assistant Hearing Officer in the Office of Student Support Services for the 23-24 academic year. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Bishop, second by Commissioner Clyburn. We'll open the floor for question and discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote electronic. Let the record reflect the administrative hire as previously mentioned has been approved, 5 yeas and 2 abstentions. Leave of absence, 10-2, Dr. Long.
The administration recommends the approval of leave of absence without pay for the employee with initials JM. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval. Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Clyburn. We'll open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote electronic. Let the record reflect the leave of absence as previously mentioned in 10-2 has been approved. The vote is unanimous. We'll now move on to 10-3, which is the hiring of personnel. Dr. Long.
The administration recommends hiring all the teachers on the attached list for the 23-24 academic year. There are 27 teachers listed. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval. Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Clyburn, second by Commissioner Myers. We'll open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote electronic. Let the record reflect the hiring of personnel as previously mentioned in 10-3 has been approved, and the vote is unanimous. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Long.
You're welcome.
We'll now move to the office of the board with 11-1. The litigation committee discussion, Commissioner Bishop.
Yes, Madam Chair, we will turn our attention to Attorney Richardson at this time.
Good evening, everyone. Madam Chair, Commissioners, and Dr. Witherspoon. The board met in executive session, had a legal discussion regarding the Hersey versus Richland 1 matter, and it was information only.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is an information item. Question or discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll move on. Thank you so much, Attorney Dr. Richardson. We'll now move on to 11-2, which is board report. This is an opportunity for a board member to speak on activities that they have been involved in the community or within our schools over the course of the past 2 weeks since our last board meeting. Please note that our board members do participate in chat with the chair, which has already begun. We are already in our schools having lunch with our students at our middle school and our high school level. But this is an opportunity for board members to report on any other activities that they have been involved in. We'll open the floor at this time. Commissioner Lomanak.
Thank you, Chairwoman Harris. I've just got 3 items as matters of follow-up. Dr. Witherspoon, some teachers have reminded me that I had raised the issue of 2 laptops for teachers that have the old smart boards, and they've asked, the administration said it would look into that, and they wanted to see if there had been any update for them.
Not at this time. We know, looking at those numbers, again, replacing those boards, as Dr. Kopic had indicated, it would be at about $1 million. For all that will be involved, and we would like to put those funds toward if at all possible, accelerating the replacement of boards, but that is still being looked into.
All right, thanks. And then is there any update on the magnet bus issue since we last talked about it a couple board meetings ago?
That has been resolved. Those students are riding.
Great, thank you for that. And then lastly, you and I brought this up the last school board meeting, and we've emailed about it. Reading interventionists, and then some teachers on behalf of reading interventionists, as you know, had reached out to me with concerns about not getting the supply money that first week of school. I asked you about it at the last school board meeting, and the administration's response was that the state did not provide that funding to reading interventionists this year, but the district would. After that meeting, I got some frustrated messages from some of those reading interventionists with the document from the State Department of Education that did indeed show that they were included on the supply list. And I've asked for an explanation for the difference between the administration's response and the State Department's documentation, and these reading interventionists have asked me for a response. Could you explain to them why they were told that the state did not provide money for them this year, but then they found documentation that suggested that it did?
Well, as Ms. Matthews Hazel had indicated at the last meeting, that would be addressed. They did indeed receive those funds, and as I did respond to you, that matter had been addressed, and they did receive those funds.
Right, but my question is, and their question is, why were they told that the state did not include them in that supply money when they called or spoke to their principal or called the administration? They were told that they weren't included. So they went weeks, 3 weeks, being told that they weren't included, and then they began doing their own research and found out that they were. And so that's the question they've got. What happened there? Was there some miscommunication? Are they wrong? Did the state really not include them? Can you respond to that for them?
Well, what I can respond to, as I've said for you as Commissioner Lomanak and members of the board, if anyone has concerns or questions, they are free to reach out to my office so that we can get them a response as quickly as possible. I can certainly understand if there's frustration that if I've called this department and didn't receive, I've called that department and didn't receive. That is certainly understandable. But I would say yet again, for anybody in this organization, that they're free, and many do reach out to my office, and we will certainly resolve any issues as quickly as possible.
Well, and I'm asking the question, will you just not respond to that question?
I just did respond to that.
You did not answer why we were told that the state did not give us money.
Commissioner
Let me ask you
Lomanak.
this. Did the state give us money for reading interventionists this year? That's an easy question.
Madam Chair, I did address the question in terms of staff did look into the issue and made the adjustment, and they did receive their.
That's not the
Okay.
question. Did the state provide money? That's the question. Did the state provide money for reading interventionists? I don't know why that's an inappropriate question.
Do you want to respond to that, Dr. Wisdom?
I did not say it was an inappropriate question, Madam Chair.
I know.
Then can we answer that question? That's a legitimate question that people have asked me and that I'm asking.
Ms. Matthews Hazel, do you have
Can
any
you-
other response?
I'm not sure what you were responding to, but we had a lot of different questions on why certain classification didn't receive it. But when we were notified and we did research, we worked in coordination with HR, they were paid within a week. So there was various reasons. It all is driven by how they're coded in our system. If someone wants to know more specifically what, like Dr. Witherspoon said, what they're referring to, because there were a lot of different situations on how people are coded, we'll be glad to address that.
Well, I mean, this is the type of thing that does drive teachers crazy, because they've asked me to ask this and they expect an answer. Because we don't treat teachers like this. We don't let them not answer questions. They get, they get written up. They get told that they're going to lose their certification for a year if they don't, quote, as Dr. Long says, do things the right way. And the right way is simply to answer this question. And if we screwed up, we screwed up. Let's just say it. But it's clear from the State Department documentation that the reading interventionists were supposed to get supply money, and we've told them the opposite. And this is a great example of treating those reading interventionists with a lack of respect.
To you, Ms. Matthew Hazel, have we taken care of our reading interventions? That's the question that I have. Have they received funding?
I've been notified by several departments that we've worked on this issue. Everyone has been taken care of. I have
Okay.
not received any complaints since
Okay.
three weeks ago.
Okay, thank you so very much. As a follow-up on behalf of the board, if you will go back and make sure that we cover everyone so that everybody remains on the same page in making sure that everyone has been taken care of, in making sure that they receive the funding. I think that's the most important question, is making sure that they have received those dollars from the State Department or whomever has to give those dollars out. Any other board reports on activities that you've been involved in? Commissioner Myers.
I would love to go next and talk about some of the training I have received, attending some of these board retreats. We had an opportunity to go to Charlotte in August of the, Chicago, I'm sorry, Chicago, August the 24th. One topic I really want to talk about, I think, as some of my other commissioners might learn from going to these trainings, you have to understand your audience. I had an opportunity to sit in this meeting. It lasted about 35 minutes. It gave me an understanding of sometimes your tone, the words that you use can affect your audience. With that being said, we are leaders at all times. We cannot take we can't take that title away until we are no longer sitting in these positions. So sometimes your tones and the words you use does impact everyone. Another little topic I want to talk about a little bit is also understanding the culture that you could be talking to, and as well as the subject that you could be discussing. They also play a role on the impact on how the community itself can receive your statement. And I also had an opportunity to attend another board meeting in Greenville. Oh, right before I finish that, let me talk about this bracelet that I'm wearing. I received it in Chicago. The bracelet stated that students' outcome don't change until adults' behavior change. I was wearing this bracelet since Chicago. And the reason why I'm wearing it, because it definitely keeps me focused on the key issue. And the key issue is being a board member is understanding the students, the new generation that's coming, and also having a full understanding that the adults that's raising these students have a big impact on the students that's coming through Richland 1. Second part I would like to talk about is the conference that I had the opportunity to attend in Greenville. And I guess some of the classes that I like to choose is actually based on being a board member and how to better yourself as a board member. So one of the classes I decided to sit in was understanding your role as a board member. Some 3 topics that I wrote down was to always remember that you are a board member at all times. Another board member from out of Charleston, I believe, had an issue with a parent meeting, and she was a mother, but she also was a board meeting. She also was a board member, and you can't take that hat off. So when you are having some meetings with some teachers or some staff, and you coming in as a parent or a concerned family member, we also, as board members, have to understand that that leadership hat is still on. The staff do not see you no other way. Decision-making as a board member. Also, I think it's very important as a board member that some of your decision-making needs to be handled personally, individually with certain staff. The reason why I believe that's very important after attending this meeting is because you could have false information, and the false information always travel farther than the true information. So sitting in some of these meetings is very, very important as a board member because it helps you better yourself when you are trying to make a difference for the new generation, for the students. I'm finished.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Myers, for your report. Any additional reports at this time? Commissioner Weston?
Good afternoon. I was fortunate enough to attend the South Carolina School Law Conference in Greenville as well, August 25th through the 28th. They had some awesome sessions. The IDEA 2023 was an update about the guidance, the challenges related to public schools across the country, and with individuals with disabilities. And we need to actually just hone in on the fact that we need to make sure that those students are taken care of on the bus, in the bus yard, at the schoolyard, at the bus stop and schoolyard, and all of those things, because their disabilities don't leave once we pick them up. Also attended the session on litigation, what school board members need to know. It was an overview of the legal process. They gave the terminology and talked about what to expect when you're going through a litigation. There was policy and practice, what board members need to know to better understanding the role that as policymakers, and closing the deal and getting real about the superintendent's contract negotiations and evaluations. Ashley Story did an outstanding job, and she shared her slides in case anyone would be interested in getting those, and learning how boards can focus on maximizing the performance and evaluation with a cycle for the superintendent. I attended a session, What Happened in the State House this year. Debbie Elmore gave an awesome session on that, things that will impact our school district, family paid leave, voucher litigations, and input. And so I found it very rewarding. I also talked with some students in the community, and one, they were concerned about Quick Picks. And they wanted to know if the cafeteria people have been informed on Quick Picks. And one young lady said, she fussed at me for 2 days because I brought my lunch and then I wanted a milk and a fruit and a bag of chips. I think somebody must have told her because she didn't do it after 2 days. So the suggestion was make sure that the cafeteria people know that they can get Quick Picks. The other one was from a gentleman. He said that Quick Picks are only available if they run out of other options and they need better chips. So that was the information coming from the young people that I talked to about what their concerns were. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Weston, for your report on tonight. Commissioner Clyburn?
Thank you so much, Chairwoman Harris. I also did attend a couple of conferences that were very informative. I attended the one in Chicago, as Commissioner Myers just stated. In one of the sessions I attended, they talked about how to be an effective leader. They spoke about, making sure your superintendent is taken care of emotionally, and making sure that he's doing self-care as well, and that the board is also doing self-care, because you can't be effective as a leader if you're not taking stock of what you need personally and professionally as well. They also, I went to a session, Philadelphia School District. They had a pilot program, and it reminded me a lot of what we're doing here in our district with Snyder Electric. They were working with their local energy company on energy savings, and they spoke about the millions of dollars that they're saving, and it just further, I think, showed that, or further affirmed, that we're doing the right thing, by that program, because other people are doing it across the nation, actually. So I also attended a session on how longevity and the degrees of stress that, taking care of kids, the degrees of stress that it has on you, and how you need to take care of yourself to make sure that you're staying around for the long haul. And about the national campaign. There is a national campaign of special interest that is going on around our country, and that may be coming to a district near you. And it's related to book removal. It's related to Black history. Some people trying to cleanse, the districts of Black history. That's also going across the nation. And we just need to keep our eyes and ears open, so we can make sure our kids have what they need for their futures. And then there's Greenville. So we did attend the conference in Greenville as well, and they talked about board responsibility. They talked about the role of the superintendent as well. And, just making sure that you stay up to date on the trends, to make sure that you have the right frame of mind to do the job. And also how important legislative advocacy is. They spoke a lot about that, and the different things that are coming up, as topics in the State House, and what they need support on, from board members, from the community, to make sure the legislators know what our districts need and what our kids need. So thank you so much, Chairwoman Harris.
And
Concludes my report.
thank you so much, Commissioner Clyburn. And I'm going to give a report, but I do want to piggyback on the energy company piece. And I was in Chicago as well, and I'll talk about that in my report. But Dr. Witherspoon, I want to publicly thank you for leading the way. Our district is doing something so innovative right now with these solar panels and the curriculum around it with Snyder. This is huge. And to sit there and talk to leaders from Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Hawaii, all of these places, they want what we have. And to hear this district present and the millions of dollars, millions, that they are saving their taxpayers, that is major. So I just want to say kudos to our district for taking the lead here in the state of South Carolina, for doing something so innovative that we don't see it now, but there is a financial savings of millions of dollars coming to this district because we chose to take some of our schools solar and so many other things. We have schools that are all but 100% solar powered. That is major. So I just want to congratulate our district. I know we've received several state awards for this, but it was a powerful discussion to talk from we are doing this now. This is where we are. This is where we want to be. And hearing from folk that have done it now for years, the partnership that they have with their power company, coming in and working with their students. And that is really a goal of our district, is to really get Snyder in our schools, working directly with our kids with the curriculum piece of this, because the solar panels are there and the kids are asking what they're up there for and all this other good stuff. So just want to say kudos to Richland One for being able to sit at that table and have a very intelligent and informative conversation about what we're doing here in South Carolina. Thank you so much, Commissioner Clyburn, for mentioning that. Commissioner Bishop.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Had the honor and opportunity to attend the groundbreaking ceremony for a statue that is going to be placed at the University of South Carolina. And one particular person who was being honored is James Solomon. And for those who may not know who James Solomon is, in 1963, 60 years ago, he helped integrate USC, the University of South Carolina. The second time, Jamie. Yeah, the second time, in 1963. And they were able to give him his flowers while he can still breathe them. He was there. And they showed pictures of him walking into the administration building to register for class. They had a plaque erected in his honor at the math building where he got his master's. But here's the relevancy of James Solomon. I think 13 years later, after 1963, 13 years later, in 1976, he became a board member for Richland One. And so he served this district, and when we talk about courageous leadership, he's an example. And the truth is, 60 years, it took 60 years for him to get recognized by the University of South Carolina for being courageous enough to integrate the school again. But it didn't stop there. The fact that he was able to take that type of courageous leadership and bring it to this board should be very inspirational to all of Richland One, that we are leaders. And as we are leaders, know it starts before you get here. And so I was able to go and shake his hand because before I became Commissioner Bishop, I was his breakfast buddy. I was able to go sit down with him and, kind of get a little blessing and some encouragement about this position. And so to the Solomon family, I wanted to recognize them because we talk about Hall of Famers and people who do great things for this district. This brother did something in 1963 that wasn't an instant reward or instant gratification. It took 60 years. So to those who may be challenged in your position of leadership, it'll come. But don't look for the reward. It'll come. So just do the work and do it for what's right. Do it for the greater good. And so tonight I want to recognize that I did have a chance to go and be at that moment with the Solomon family and be with a mentor and a role model in James Solomon. And for those who know, I've given a plea for those who are looking for someone to nominate to the Hall of Fame. James Solomon is a great recommendation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Bishop. Commissioner Devine?
Thank you, Madam Chair. On tonight, we've heard two instances of Black history from Commissioner Clyburn and Commissioner Bishop. And if we go to our state law, Section 59, 29, 55 talks about Black history. It's in state law. It's been codified since 1990. And so I want to encourage those who may be discouraged about some of this conversation regarding Black history, but it's codified in the state law, that the state of South Carolina must instruct students in the history of Black people as a regular part of its history and social study courses, and that the State Department of Education shall establish the guidelines for the adoption of history and social study textbooks which incorporate Black history, and shall throughout the state assist school districts in developing and locating suitable printed materials and other aids for instruction in Black history. So I do want them to be encouraged that we do have Section 59, 29, 55 that instructs us on Black history, and that's mandated by the state of South Carolina. So I do want to just lend my voice to what my colleagues have said in regards to that as well. And one last thing, Madam Chair and Dr. Witherspoon, I always talk about the strategic plan, and again, looking forward to the future. Dr. Witherspoon, these are questions that we probably need to put forth before the staff. Where are we again 2 to 4 years from now? What does a graduate of Richland 1 look like? We know what the state says. The question becomes, what does a graduate of Richland 1 looks like for the future? And then on top of that, we talked a little bit about AI, and you and I have had this conversation offline. What are those skills needed for our young people to take advantage of AI? And we know it's here and it's coming. It's going to be part of the future. I'm looking at 4 beautiful young people right in front of me. Who are our future? Who are our future? What are those skills that these young people need for them to take advantage of AI that is coming forward? And those micro-credentialings that some of our high schools, middle school, and elementary school students need, because we need to ensure that they get the best education here in Richland 1. And then we add to that Hayward Career Center. How do we as a board get out of the way so that we can ensure that those students get those skills needed, safe from like a Hayward Career Center? So as we look forward to the future, Dr. Witherspoon, I'm interested in that strategic plan, where we go as an organization to, again, get our young people prepared to take over. We know that manufacturing is here, and we want them to be prepared to either go to college, military, or be career ready. And we know that, again, with those skills that these young people are gaining now, we need to make sure that they get those skills so they can be and take advantage of those options and opportunities that we see here in Richland School District 1. So with that, Madam Chair, I yield my time back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Devine. Any additional reports? I'm going to, Commissioner Lomanak.
I was just reminded of one question. Some teachers have expressed concerns about students that still don't have laptops, apparently because of a charger supply issue. Is that true? I emailed you about it, but I haven't gotten a response. Is there still an issue with?
You're directing your question to Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes, ma'am.
My understanding that there are some chargers that need to be ordered or received, because otherwise they would get a laptop that they can't use. So that is in progress.
Well, one of the suggestions to me from the teachers, because this far into the quarter, obviously computers are necessary. It creates a burden for the students and the teachers when there are people with computers and without computers, is come up with a way for the students to work on the computers during the day with chargers in the classroom, and then they can take home a fully charged laptop at night, at least as a stopgap until we get a computer in every student's hand. Because it's really hard for teachers when you've got 2 or 3 kids without computers, because you can't do the same things and expect those kids to be able to do the same things.
Well, the principal is addressing the issue, and we'll certainly address that issue with the teachers that are and the students that are involved.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Witherspoon. I'm going to be real brief in my report because I believe that Commissioner Myers and Commissioner Clyburn did an excellent job. Even Commissioner West, did an excellent job in giving an overview of the professional development and training that we have received. I do want Eva to enter in the record that I am going to be providing handouts to all of the board members to make sure you get this information, because knowledge is power. And what you don't know not only can hurt you, but it hurts the people that we're supposed to be serving. One of the sessions that I was in, it talked about, and this, a lot of our sessions were student focused, district focused, community focused, but a lot of it was us focused and the burnout that sometimes we, superintendent, whomever, can go through. And one of the things that really was intriguing to me was just knowing that when we stop and check every email and text message that we're getting, sometimes it takes us 22 minutes to refocus. So sometimes a 30-minute job becomes a 3-hour job. And I want to put that out there for everybody, just to know sometimes we got to set aside a time to check emails, because if we're constantly checking emails, we're really not getting our work accomplished, because it takes us about 22 minutes to refocus on what it was we were doing before we checked our email. So I see a lot of y'all smiling because y'all know I'm telling the truth. I know I'm guilty. But great conference. One of the things, they gave us some final thoughts, and this is what I want to share with my colleagues. They said, frame our school success as a community, health, and safety as a priority. Secondly, they said, decide now to have local evidence of impact of your leadership vision by the end of the school year. And lastly, they said you can't lead others if you don't take care of your own self. And that includes professional development. That includes your mental health and so many other things. So to my colleagues, I'm not going to go into what I had written down to talk about things such as the innovative strategies for achieving classroom equity, fostering brave spaces for tough conversations, things that we can do for our parents, providing resources in the community. I'll just compile all of this information and have it emailed or copied to everybody. It's a lot of pages, but I think it's worth having as a resource that we better understand our role, because as they said to us, your board is no stronger than your weakest link. And I believe that is something that we have got to really, really consider. This training is here for us. And it's here for us to make sure that we function in the role that we've been given to our fullest extent, because our children deserve the best board members possible. Our district deserves the best board members possible. So I'm going to leave that alone. And I'm going to go on and share. Dr. Witherspoon had the opportunity to go to the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Parent Resource Center at Hopkins Elementary School. I want to publicly give a shout out to the principal there, Dr. Gardner, and her amazing family engagement specialist, Ms. Harris, that did a super job. And just to give you an overview, when you walked into this room, SC Works was sitting at the table that's going to be providing job opportunities in the community. Our COMET system was there talking about transportation and things that they're looking at doing differently in the rural portion of our district, because we do have a rural portion of our district that does not have bus services on every road like some other places of our district. But it was a great, 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 great opportunity. Mental health counselors were there. So our parents are now receiving support and help in our schools. So I want to give a shout out and congratulations to the awesome staff at Hopkins Elementary School on a job well done, and to the family engagement specialist, Ms. Harris, for taking the lead on this. And then I want to thank another principal by the name of Mr. Chad Myers from Southeast Middle School, Dr. Witherspoon. I had the opportunity to walk Southeast with him. He was determined for me to come and walk. And one of the things that he did that was just mind-blowing, this principal walked into a classroom full of males. And anyone knows the poem Equipment? He starts quoting this poem to his students. So y'all know me, I'm a ball of water. I was about to cry, Bishop. It was just so moving But he challenged those students to learn that poem, and he's incentivizing them. But to see the passion and the love that that principal has for his students was just, it left me in awe. When I left there, I had to go home and pull that poem up and just read it all over again. The way he talked to those young men about controlling their destiny and how they had been equipped with everything that they need to be successful. So I wanted to give a special shout out to that principal for his amazing leadership. To my colleagues, on Friday, your packets, you will receive the evaluation instrument for Dr. Witherspoon. You will be given a window of time to complete that and to submit that back to us. Once we get that packet, we will set the date for the review and all of the other steps involved with all of that. If there's no further reports from any board member, at this time we will move forward to the office of the superintendent, and we will begin with 12-1, which is our student placement request being presented by Ms. Sturdivant.
Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Witherspoon, the administration is recommending the student with the initials RH be placed in kindergarten. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
It's been moved by Commissioner Myers and second by Commissioner Devine. We'll now open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote electronically. Okay. Let the record reflect the vote is unanimous and it has been approved. Thank you so much, Ms. Sturdivant. At this time, we will move on to 12-2, which is our summer SOAR presentation being presented on tonight by Dr. Tracy Cooper.
Good evening. Chairwoman Harris, School Board Commissioners, Dr. Witherspoon, I am deeply honored this evening to provide a brief snapshot and overview of Summer SOAR 2023. As you all are aware, Summer SOAR is an umbrella, an array of summer programs that touch on credit recovery, credit acquisition, remediation, and enrichment programs for our students from our pre-K children all the way through our adult continuum. And all of these programs occur during our out-of-school time during summer. But before I begin formally, I would like to take a moment of personal privilege to sincerely thank this board, all 7 of you, the administration, Dr. Witherspoon under his leadership, for your acute and continuous investment and your support of extended day learning and extended day programs. And I'm talking before school, after school, summer school, Saturday school. So I want to publicly thank you for allowing us to have the resources, human, technical, and financial, to pour into our students each and every day. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am here tonight to celebrate 6 years of making summer matter. Since 2017, Richland 1 has ensured that students and adult learners have access to summer programs and summer camps, meeting the growing public demand from our parents and our guardians, each year soaring higher and higher. And members of the board, members of the executive leadership team, we have placed at your place settings this year's Summer SOAR brochure so that you have right at your fingertips the repertoire of all of the programs that were provided for our students and our families this year. But it's no secret that utilizing summer months and extending the academic and enrichment for students has a powerful ROI, or our return on our investment. So according to the National Summer Learning Association and the National After School Alliance, of which we are partner organizations, I want to publicly say that, I want to just share some statistics with you about why your investment is so critically important. Over the summer, 2.5 months of math skills are lost for our students. Youth obesity rates double. I'm gonna let that sink in.
Wow.
Sadly, double during the summer months in comparison to the regular school year. 2 months of reading skills are lost over the summer. And due to summer learning loss, teachers spend 6 weeks reteaching old material for students who did not participate in summer programs. But, and I'm an English teacher, so I love those conjunctions, but with high quality summer programs, they help to improve math and reading skills and help us close that achievement gap. And also, high quality summer programs address what's also deemed as the summer melt. The summer melt. And that is a condition where first generation students with counseling and support and nurturing and guidance have the successful skills needed to transition to college. Without that, many of them, although they've been accepted into colleges and universities, do not go on. So we've got to address summer learning loss, we've got to address the summer regression, and we also must critically focus on the summer melt. So I am happy tonight. I thought Dr. Witherspoon would never ask to share with you some of this great information about our Summer SOAR 2023 by the numbers. So this summer, we operated for 6 full weeks of academic enrichment and credit recovery and credit acquisition. We began on June 6th and we sunsetted the program on July 21st. Over those 6 weeks, 32,859 pre-K through adult learners were served. And with week 2, now that is the aggregate, that's the aggregate, but that's the total number, over 32,000 students who were touched in our program. Now I would like to recognize tonight that week 2 was the week that we had the highest level of enrollment and student population with 7,242 students participating in week 2. As the brochure will detail, we sponsored 197 specialized programs with 26 host sites to address the whole child and the needs of our students in terms of health and wellness. We employed 15 credentialed nurses, and that included our district nurses as well as some of our agency nurses. We also, in our partnership with Prisma Health, one of our valued corporate partners, we offered a telemedicine site at one of our Summer SOAR sites. Also, over 18,000, nearly 19,000 breakfast meals were served, over 20,000 lunch meals were served, and we provided 419 food pantry kits. And I'd like to publicly recognize Eastminster Presbyterian and the Super Bowl of Caring because they provided us with that money, that contribution, so that those students who were always counting on the weekend backpack program, that we continue to meet their needs. Because, ladies and gentlemen, hunger does not take a vacation.
That's right.
But those students still, their needs were met.
That's right.
Also, this evening, I'd like to share with you that in our efforts to be very caring, responsive, and respectful and supportive of our parents and guardians, 1,484 Summer SOAR hotline calls were addressed in our Summer SOAR hotline call center. And I must recognize Miss Francine B., who would be, yes, Miss B., I'm going to do it. You would be there at 7 in the morning. Fueling those calls. She would be there until 6 p.m. We had the hotline open Monday through Friday. We got calls from parents and guardians, and we even got some calls from some students who wanted to know about how did they enroll for programs. In our commitment to make sure that we protected all of our campuses, also to protect our personnel and our students, I want to thank our partnership with our safety and security team, with Mr. Brown. Through our collaboration, he was able to employ 3 security managers, 7 Richland County Sheriff SROs, 10 Columbia Police Department SROs, 10 school safety associates, and even 1 crossing guard to help us make sure that we kept, again, our students and our staff very safe. To help with flexible groupings and mentoring, 29 foster grandparents, through our partnership with Senior Resources, volunteered. They read to our students. They helped us with pullouts. And in an aggregate, those 29 foster grandparents totaled 2,850 plus volunteer hours. In our efforts as a school district to continue to support economic development here in the Midlands, 894 summer SOAR employees were hired, and that's both on the certified and the classified side of the house. And also, in terms of home to school and school to home transportation, we had a fleet of 74 buses that served our students. 74 school bus drivers were hired, and they covered 125,000 plus miles during those 6 weeks. So this evening, I would like to take the opportunity to focus on 3 particular programs. I'd first like to start with our Junior Fire Marshal program that's sponsored through the Hartford Insurance Company, that's funded through a grant through our special revenue dollars. We will also hear from Dr. Donnellan, who will highlight some of our STEM, space, and aeronautics programs that were offered at the Challenger Learning Center. And also, we will hear from our executive directors of schools, who will talk about our Summer Learning Academy at the elementary level, and also our Start Strong and Summer School program at the secondary level. But before I call and ask my colleague, Dr. Donnellan, to join me at the podium, I would like to just quickly highlight for you our Hartford Junior Fire Marshal program. Since 2019, the Hartford has sponsored and partnered with Richland 1. And this is very important because when the Hartford approached my office about partnering back in 2019, I was personally so unaware that, unfortunately, here in the Midlands, the city of Columbia, we rank among the highest number of U.S. cities due to our home fire risk. So we don't want to be topping that list, okay? We want to be topping some lists, but not that list. So it generated and it propelled our commitment to partner with the Hartford, and they have been trusted partners. With their partnership, 422 of our little elementary school students have been deputized as junior fire marshals, and in summer SOAR, 153 of these students received, they became deputized in the program, and we hosted this summer program at 6 of our summer SOAR sites. I would like to just share with you some of the things that the children did learn, some of the competencies and skills that they learned during that life-saving summer program. They learned how to develop a fire escape plan. They learned how to not overload electrical sockets. They learned not to leave fires burning unattended. They learned not to leave stoves unattended while cooking and burning candles. And this is very important. Many of the children, when they did the demonstrations about responding to a 911 dispatch officer, they did not know the key information to share. So they learned how to give their names, their address, how to spell and slowly give the dispatcher the information, critical information that's needed to hopefully get care to them immediately. They learned how to identify a family resettlement area once the family has evacuated, and they were also taught to continue to stay low when the house is engulfed in flames. So these are just a few shots, photos from this year's summer program. The children certainly enjoyed having the representatives from our fire department coming out. They love the fire engines. They love when Sparky, the fire dog, the mascot, came out. And we were certainly honored when our very own Chief Aubrey Jenkins came and deputized our little babies. It was a great day. All right. At this point, I will ask Dr. Donnellan to join me at the podium, and she will be followed by E.D. Sturdivant and E.D. Hassinger who will highlight the two credit recovery and credit acquisition programs.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners, and Dr. Witherspoon.
Good evening.
Oops,
Good evening.
there we go. Challenger offered 21 camp sessions during the summer of 2023. We have camps for children as young as 8 years old and as old as 18. We even offer one camp where parents attend with their child so the family can learn to build and safely launch a model rocket together. In addition to camps specializing in rocketry, we have camps specializing in robotics, drones, and aviation. Our most popular camp, though, is Astronaut Academy, which includes an introduction to aviation, rocketry, robotics, and aerospace. On Aviation Day, campers learn about the forces that affect aircraft by building a paper Mars helicopter and a straw rocket before they learn how to fly on our flight simulators. On Rocketry Day, campers learn about action and reaction of forces by building balloon rockets and foam rockets before they construct and launch a model rocket. On Robotics Day, campers learn about circuits and build a kit robot. Then they learn how to program a robot to complete an obstacle course, and then they create a space communication relay. On Aerospace Day, campers view a planetarium show and then participate in a simulated space mission. They learn about 3D printing and how to use 3D pens, and then they work in teams to design a mission patch to commemorate their mission. Oops, and I went too fast. I'm so sorry. Back. How do I go back? There we go. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Some of our activities in Astronaut Academy were designed by our mission commanders and flight consultant. Some of the activities are from the NASA AstroCamp curriculum. Richland 1 is an AstroCamp collaborative partner. As such, we have access to over 80 STEM lessons and activities vetted by NASA. These lessons and activities can be used in summer camps, in school clubs, and in the classroom. Teachers in Richland 1 have access to the NASA AstroCamp curriculum through Schoology and can use them throughout the year. If an online self-paced training is completed and the required number of AstroCamp activities are incorporated, the club or class or camp may request to be designated an official NASA AstroCamp. Our Astronaut Academy is a designated NASA AstroCamp. And that concludes my part of the presentation. Thank you.
Commissioner Harris, Board Commissions, and Dr. Witherspoon. I'm presenting a combined report for Dr. Hester wasn't able to attend tonight, so we have a combined report. Although there is a myriad of activities for our elementary and secondary students that can engage in the summer, there are 4 major programs we wanted to highlight for Summer SOAR. So we have Credit Recovery, Start Strong, Elementary Summer Learning, and Young Einstein. Our extensive credit recovery program allows students the opportunity to utilize Imagine Learning, formerly known as Edgenuity, and on-site staff support to recover up to 2 failed course credits. The flexibility of Imagine Learning also allows for the credit recovery of failed elective courses such as world languages and limited career tech education courses. Credit recovery program is tremendously valuable to all stakeholders in our middle and high schools, particularly as it relates to retention rates. For example, in one high school reported a 9th grade retention rate of over 16% on the last day of school. But once credit recovery work wrapped up in late June, that retention rate was reduced to less than 5%. Start Strong allows students transitioning from one level of education to the next an opportunity to spend in a new setting and to experience the new expectations prior to the beginning of the school year. It's sort of a heads up practice run moving to the next level education. Elementary Summer Learning Camp invites pre-K through 4th graders. Selection is based on STAR reading benchmarks. Additionally, per our state law, we must identify 3rd graders who are not reading proficient or did not meet SE Ready reading requirements. And we have to provide the opportunity of summer reading camps. Students receive small group instruction and individualized instruction in reading and in math. And lastly, Young Einstein. Young Einstein Summer Institute is a no-cost 5-week, invitation-only elementary program serving high-performing students in grades 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade who meet one dimension of South Carolina's gifted and talented requirement or scored at the 75th percentile on the Winter Star Reading or Math Assessment. The purpose of Young Einstein Summer Institute is to increase the number of students who qualify for advanced academic program amongst disadvantaged populations. And Dr. Hassinger, I want to include a couple of quotes from teachers who worked summer learning. From a Dreer educator, Start Strong allows the ninth grade team to intimately connect with rising ninth grade students. The students in the Start Strong program create strong relationships with faculty, staff, students, and demonstrate behavior and social emotional success throughout the first year of high school. And a quote from a Young Einstein teacher. YES, also known as Einstein, allows us to focus on job-building skills through enrichment activities. Teachers are leaders of investigation with topics students are not normally exposed to. Students are eager to attend and want to be pushed. So as you can see, summer SOAR programs in elementary and secondary provide not only remediation, but enrichment opportunities at various levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Donlin, ED Sturdivant, for those overviews. At this point, that concludes our presentation. I can answer any questions from the board at this time, but members of the board, we certainly hope that you can see that during those 6 weeks, we truly try to make summers matter. I would like to, before I answer any questions, to recognize and thank our communications team for allowing us to make sure that we get this information out into the community. And just for the information tonight, we want you to know that we promote Summer SOAR through various mediums, print, broadcast, and social media. And hence, that's why I believe we had those 32,000+ students enrolled. Members of the board, we also have a little Cersei for all of you. We know that your schedules are so busy and hectic. You may have missed some of the coverage in June and July and August of our of our summer school programs. So we have taken the liberty in these video cards to upload several of the features from some of our internal broadcast networks, as well as some of our syndicated television networks that have done features on our summer programs. So also there's a handwritten note in there for you, again, thanking you for your advocacy and your investment in extended year learning. Mr. Superintendent, Madam Chair, at this time I yield to you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Cooper, let me just say from the beginning on behalf of the Board of Commissioners how much we appreciate your leadership in this program. You have done a phenomenal job. You and your team, as always. And you've been real modest tonight, because the only thing I've been thinking in your presentation is not once has she said that this is a nationally recognized program that our district leads across the country. There are other districts mirroring and trying to do what we do here in Richland 1 for their students. And if you recall, when the board went to COSBA conference in Tampa, Florida, Dr. Witherspoon and myself presented this program, and we had folk from Indiana and Alabama, and we're flying in. We want to tour. We want to see what you all are doing, because it was just so mind-blowing to see that we had something called Summer SOAR to make sure that our children did not go through that summer learning loss that you talked about. But it's also been presented on a state level as well, with the School Board Association and Hilton Head. And then it's also been presented at CUBE in Atlanta. So this program is a hot item for our district, and each year it yields a return on the investment. 32,000 kids impacted says a lot. Our children were learning and engaged during their summer, and that's a powerful thing. So I salute you, I salute your team, and again, Dr. Witherspoon, I salute your leadership, because I recall 6 years ago, Commissioner Bishop, Commissioner Devine, we were here when we started talking about the kids not having anything to do during the summer, and you all working on that SOAR piece, what we were gonna call it, but at the end of the day, the vision started taking formation, and here it is 6 years later, we see the fruit of the labor. And I salute you, I celebrate you, and I thank everybody that has been involved in making sure our children are learning. You know, it's a blessing when you can celebrate the good that's happening in our district. You know, and I tell you like this is a saying, say the good outweigh the bad. The good outweighs the bad. We're making some great strides in our district, and it's because we have great people in our district. We have great leadership in our district. So, Dr. Cooper, keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully by summer of 2024, we're going to be at 50,000 kids, you know, because, you know, my colleagues were smiling when you were talking about the CERSI because they can't wait to share it because that's what we do, that we have to empower our community because it's so easy to spread negativity. But what we should be spreading is the great things that's happening each and every day in our district for our children. And Summer SOAR is definitely a winning program for our district. So thank you. I'm going to open up the floor for any additional questions or comments from any other board member that you may have at this time. I said it all, huh? Okay, Commissioner Bishop.
Can we open this up now? I want to open this.
You want to open it up? You can go ahead and open. Do we need to open it up now or later?
How long is this presentation?
It's about 8 minutes, so
Okay,
you
well,
might,
I'll
yes,
open it
you
up now.
later.
Okay, you
But
gonna
it
open it
has
up?
4 vignettes of programs that were featured on broadcast this summer. Madam Chair, if I may, because this is not about me.
Right.
This work takes every department. There is literally no department that has not had a hand.
That's right.
And I just made a few notes last night as I was working on some of my notes. I want to publicly thank HR, transportation, student nutrition services, payroll finance, custodial services, move management, risk management, communications, TNL, operations, IT, the EDs of schools. And if I forgot someone, please charge it to my mind and not my heart. But it takes all hands were on deck to pull this off. And I could not stand here in good faith and not recognize the teamwork, the collaboration, the Team Richland One mindset that allowed us to impact those 32,000 students. So thank you very much.
And thank you very much. Thank you. Job well done. All right. And last but certainly not least, we will now have our superintendent's report by our superintendent, Dr. Witherspoon.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the board. One second. Yes. Our schools and staff, as we've just indicated, have earned several local, state, and national honors and awards since our last board meeting. 2 Richland One high schools were named among the best high schools in the nation by U.S. News and World Report in its 23-24 rankings. Dreher High School and AC Flora were ranked among the top 40% out of 17,680 public schools nationwide. In addition to national rankings, Dreher was ranked the 3rd best high school in the Columbia metropolitan area and 11th in South Carolina. AC Flora was ranked 9th in the Columbia metropolitan area and 34th in South Carolina. Congratulations to the students, faculty, and staff at both of these schools. Richland One has earned a 2023 Partnership District Award from the National Network of Partnership Schools at Johns Hopkins University. In addition, Columbia High School has received a 2023 Partnership School Award from the National Network of Partnership Schools. The district is in its 6th time being recognized for making excellent progress in strengthening its leadership of partnerships for the guiding of schools to develop goal-oriented programs for family and community engagement. Richland One was cited for our parent pep rallies, Commissioner Bishop, which were led by the Parent and Family Engagement Specialist Office of Specialists in the Office of Federal and State Programs. Columbia High was cited for its All Roads Lead Home initiative, which helped establish the school's alumni association, as well as support volunteering and collaborating with the community. 3 Richland One educators have been named Microsoft Innovative Educator Experts for the 2023-2024 school year. The MIE program recognizes visionaries in the field who are using technology to enhance the instruction of their colleagues for improved student outcomes. 6 educators from across South Carolina were selected for this distinction. So far, half are from Richland 1. Kathleen Lacey, curriculum resource teacher at Creighton Middle School, has been named an MIE expert for the 4th consecutive year, as well as a Microsoft Innovative Educator Fellow for the 2nd consecutive year. She is just one of 2 fellows for the Mid-Atlantic region. Jason Jarvis, an English language arts teacher at Creighton, and Sean Simone, one of Richland One's elementary ELA curriculum consultants, are in their 1st year as MIE experts. C.A. Johnson, high school math teacher, Dr. Mario Ramon, has been selected for the Society for Sciences High School Research Teachers Conference. The Society for Science is dedicated to expanding scientific literacy, access to STEM education, and scientific research. The all-expense-paid conference will be held September 29th through October 1st in Washington, D.C. The conference brings together research teachers from across the United States to share their best practices, troubleshoot challenges, and learn more about the society. It will cover topics such as tools and strategies for managing student research projects and supporting students underrepresented in STEM. Dr. Ramon is among 175 teachers selected across the United States to attend the conference. Hand Middle School Principal Dr. Patrice Green has been selected for the South Carolina School Leadership Executive Institute. The program was created in partnership with the South Carolina Department of Education's Office of Educator Effectiveness and Leadership Development and Truist Leadership Institute. The SLEI is a 7-month program designed to equip principals from across the state with insight, knowledge, and competencies necessary to lead innovative and successful schools. Dr. Green is one of 22 principals from across South Carolina who were chosen for the SLEI's Cohort 51. The lower high school football team will go Lower Richland, I'm sorry. Let me pull them a little closer here. Lower Richland High School's football team will go lime green to raise awareness about mental health. The school has been selected by the National Alliance on Mental Illness, MAMI, South Carolina, and the Hayden Hurst Foundation to host a Go Lime Green Mental Health Matters game. Lower Richland will play River Bluff High School at the stadium at Lower Richland on Friday, September 15th at 7:30 p.m. NAMI representatives will hold mental health awareness activities for students at Lower Richland during the school day, and they will have an information booth at the game. Short PSAs, including one from the Carolina Panthers tight end and former USC Gamecock Hayden Hurst, will be shown to spectators and students. The special presentation will take place before Friday's game. Yesterday, September 11th, we kicked off our 2023 United Way Employee Giving Campaign. The campaign will run through September 29th. Contributions made by district employees through our annual campaign will help the United Way of the Midlands continue support vital programs, services, and resources that support members of our community, including many Richland One students and families. I encourage everyone to join me in supporting the United Way of the Midlands. Employees can contact their site campaign director for information about the campaign. Information about the United Way of the Midlands is available at uway.org. Madam Chair, this concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Dr. Witherspoon. At this time, we'll open the floor for any questions or discussion on anything that Superintendent presented. Commissioner Clyburn?
Well, my question is actually on another topic. Is that okay? Okay. So watching the news, I heard about a new vaccine that had been approved or in process of being approved. Could you speak on, or is there someone here that can speak a little bit about the effort that, Richland One might be doing just to encourage or to, encourage people to participate or students to participate or the community?
Sure. During the pandemic, and then COVID has moved to endemic status, we certainly were at the forefront again through Dr. Cooper and others' efforts, Nurse Jones and others. We did partner with Prisma at the time to be one of the early entities when we moved to that phase. At this time, and we did encourage, all in the community to take part in the vaccination. But we will be looking at the same type of activities as we move forward, again, encouraging, as we've done every year with whether that's flu shots, and making sure that information is out and available, as well as vaccines. And I'm just received, we're going to do flu shots October at LR and Dreer. But we will certainly be working with our healthcare partners on other vaccinations and those efforts as well. And we will communicate that information out.
Okay. Any additional questions or comments at this time? Commissioner Weston?
Yes, piggybacking on that, I saw that the nursing services, that you have agencies who are participating with that. Do we have nurses at each school? I keep seeing where students and staff are utilizing EMS. So I just wanted to know, are the nurses at each school now?
Yeah, some of the EMS reports, those are health emergencies that happen.
Right.
And working with the school nurse, determine what type of response is needed. So I think that may be the ones you may be referring to. But we do have staff. I'm not sure how we're staffed on those, but we do have plans or contingencies when said nurse may be out and that type of thing. So we do have those covered, and then plans to, when we work with some agencies as well for that coverage.
So, thank you.
Didn't see you, Ms. Coles.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Witherspoon, we do have all of the schools covered. What we have is we have about 8 schools right now that don't have school nurses. We provide agency nurses through 2 companies that we have secured. We also activate the cluster when we're not able to get an agency nurse at a school. So we're working to make sure those schools are covered. We also have a float nurse that goes around and assists as well. So we're making every effort to make sure all the schools are covered. But in certain situations, EMS has to be called.
Thank you. That answers that question, and especially now that we're going into flu season and COVID and all these things are coming back to the surface, I think it's really good to have those nurses at the location so when these things happen, they can address them. So thank you so very much.
Okay. Any additional questions or comments for Dr. Witherspoon? Commissioner Devine?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dr. Witherspoon and staff, I do apologize. I was sitting here reading some information regarding the summer SOAR information that was presented by Dr. Cooper. Along those lines, we appreciate what's been done, particularly as it pertains to the summer slide and summer learning programs and math and reading skills, which helps close that achievement gap or keep it closed, which leads me to my next question. I think you've answered this, but just an update on when the calendar committee is going to meet regarding a year-round or modified calendar, as we say right now, until it becomes officially year-round. Any update on moving forward with the committee to meet regarding modified calendars?
Starting next month, Commissioner Devine.
All right. Thank you, Dr.
Yes.
Witherspoon.
Okay. Any additional questions or comments for Superintendent? Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Witherspoon, for that report. Before our last announcement and adjournment, I just want everyone to remember that every day may not be good, but there is something good in every day. Before we adjourn, the next regular board meeting of the Richland 1 Board of Commissioners will be held on Tuesday, September the 26th at 7 p.m. at Alcorn Middle School, 5125 Fairfield Road. There's no objection from the Board of Commissioners. You can consider yourselves dismissed. Have a good evening.